The night the mansion burned, I was in the second-floor bedroom. Smoke was burning my lungs. Flames were climbing up the stairs, and I knew this wasn't an accident. My cousins, the same ones who 2 months ago said, "Why did Grandma give you this $35 million mansion?" The same ones who said, "If something happens to you, the inheritance comes to us." They did this. They wanted to kill me. But when the smoke got thicker and I couldn't breathe anymore, something strange happened. A hidden door in the wall opened, a secret staircase going down to the basement, and there, in the darkness, was a 100-year-old secret. A secret that explained why Grandma left me this mansion and why my cousins could never have it. Baby, sit close. Because this story, honey, this one's got ghosts, got fire, got family that'll kill you for money. And it's got truth buried so deep, it took 100 years to surface. My name is Eve. I'm 58 years old. And 2 years ago, my grandmother died and left me a mansion I never knew existed. A mansion worth $35 million. A mansion that nearly became my grave. Let me start at the beginning. My grandmother's name was Dorothy Hayes, but everybody called her Mama Dot. She was 94 when she passed, sharp as a tack right up until the end. Lived alone in a little house on the edge of town. Refused to go to a nursing home. Said she'd die in her own bed on her own terms. And she did. I was her favorite, always had been. I was the one who visited every week, brought her groceries, sat with her, listened to her stories about the old days, about her mama, her grandmama, the family history. My cousins, they never visited. Too busy, too important. Only showed up on holidays when they needed something. There were 3 of them, Marcus, Tony, and Sheila. My uncle's kids, entitled, greedy, always had their hands out. When Mama Dot died, we all gathered for the will reading. I expected her to split her little house between all of us. Maybe leave me her jewelry since I was closest to her. But honey, that's not what happened. The lawyer read the will, left some money to charity, left her car to a friend. And then he got to the big part. To my granddaughter Eve Mitchell, I leave the Hayes estate, located at 1847 Blackwood Road, including all land, structures, and contents therein. Silence. The Hayes estate? Marcus said. What's that? The lawyer handed me an envelope. Inside was a key, an old iron key, and a deed to a mansion built in 1897, sitting on 40 acres of land, valued at $35 million. I just stared at it. I don't understand. Mama Dot lived in a tiny house. How did she own a mansion? It's been in the family for over 100 years, the lawyer said. Passed down through the women. Your great-great-grandmother built it. Your grandmother was the last living heir, and now it's yours. Marcus stood up, face red. That's not fair. That mansion should be split between all of us. The will is clear, the lawyer said. The estate goes to Eve. Sheila started crying. Fake tears. Grandma must have been confused. She was old. This isn't right. Tony just glared at me, cold, calculating. We'll contest this. But they couldn't. The will was ironclad. Mama Dot knew exactly what she was doing. The mansion was mine. I went to see it a week later. Drove out to Blackwood Road, middle of nowhere, woods on all sides. At the end of a long gravel driveway, there it was, the Hayes estate. Baby, it was massive. 3 stories, Victorian architecture, wraparound porch, turrets, stained glass windows. Beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It looked abandoned, vines growing up the walls. Windows dark, but it was structurally sound, just needed cleaning and updating. I walked inside with that old iron key. The door creaked open. Inside was like stepping back in time. Antique furniture covered in white sheets, chandeliers dripping with dust, paintings on the walls, family portraits, women I'd never met, but who looked just like me. And it was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you feel like you're being watched. I should have been excited. I just inherited $35 million. But instead, I felt uneasy, like something was waiting. Over the next month, I started fixing up the mansion. Hired cleaners, electricians, plumbers. I was going to move in, make it my home. My cousins called constantly, begging me to sell it and split the money. When I refused, the calls turned nasty, threatening. "You don't deserve that house," Marcus said. "Grandma was senile. We'll take you to court." "You do that," I said, and hung up. They tried. Filed a lawsuit claiming undue influence, but the judge threw it out. Mama Dot had been of sound mind. The will was valid. After that, they stopped calling. And that's when I should have been worried. I moved into the mansion 2 months after inheriting it. Brought my things. Set up my bedroom on the second floor, in a room that overlooked the front grounds. The house was beautiful at night. Moonlight through the stained glass. Shadows dancing on the walls. But it was also strange. Doors would close by themselves. Footsteps in empty hallways. Cold spots in certain rooms. I told myself it was just an old house. Old houses make noise. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. This house had secrets. 3 weeks after I moved in, the fire started. It was a Friday night. Late November. Cold outside. I'd gone to bed early, exhausted from unpacking and organizing. I woke up to the smell of smoke. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I heard it. The crackle of flames. Downstairs. I jumped out of bed, opened my door. The hallway was filling with smoke. Flames were climbing the main staircase. Fast. Too fast. This wasn't a normal fire. I ran to the window, looked out, saw 2 figures running toward the woods. Even in the dark, I recognized them. Marcus and Tony, my cousins. They'd set my house on fire, with me inside. I tried to go back toward the stairs, but the flames were too high. I couldn't get through. The smoke was getting thicker. My lungs were burning. I was trapped. I ran back to my room, tried the window. It was old, painted shut. I couldn't get it open. I grabbed a chair, swung it at the glass. It bounced off. The smoke was getting worse. I was coughing, choking, getting dizzy. I thought, this is it. This is how I die. But then, something happened. Baby, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm gonna try. I was on my knees, coughing, vision blurring, and I heard a voice. A woman's voice. Soft, clear. The wall. Push the wall. I looked up. Through the smoke, I saw her. A woman in an old-fashioned dress, standing by the far wall. She looked like the women in the portraits downstairs. She pointed to a section of the wall. Push it. I crawled over, put my hands on the wood paneling, and I pushed. The wall moved. A hidden door. I'd walked past this wall 100 times and never knew it was there. Behind it was a narrow staircase, going down. I didn't think, just crawled through and pulled the door shut behind me. The air was cooler, clearer. I could breathe. I stumbled down the stairs. Down, 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 into darkness. At the bottom was a room, a basement, but not like any basement I'd ever seen. It was set up like a living space. A bed, a desk, shelves full of books and papers. candles, old photographs on the walls. And in the center of the room, there was a trunk, a large wooden trunk with brass hinges. On top of it was a note, written in handwriting I recognized, Mama Dot's handwriting. It said, "For Eve, when you're ready, all the answers are here." Honey, let me tell you what was in that trunk. Journals, dozens of them, dating back to 1897, written by the women in my family. My great-great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, my grandmother. And as I read them, sitting in that hidden basement while my house burned above me, I learned the truth. The Hayes estate wasn't just a mansion, it was a refuge, built by my great-great-grandmother, Abigail Hayes, in 1897. She'd escaped an abusive marriage with nothing but the clothes on her back and a small inheritance from her own mother. She used that money to buy land and build this house. But she didn't just build it for herself. She built it for other women. Women escaping violence. Women with nowhere to go. Women who needed to disappear. For over 50 years, the Hayes estate was a secret safe house. Hidden rooms, underground tunnels, places where women could hide from husbands, fathers, brothers who wanted to hurt them. My great-grandmother continued the work. Then my grandmother. Generation after generation of women in my family protecting other women. But they kept it secret. Had to, because if the wrong people found out, they'd shut it down, or worse. The men in the family never knew, never inherited the house, because they couldn't be trusted with the secret. Only the women, only the ones who understood. That's why Mama Dot left it to me, because I was the one who showed up, who cared, who listened. She trusted me to continue the legacy. I sat in that basement for hours, reading, crying, understanding. Above me, the fire raged. When I finally heard sirens, I climbed back up the hidden stairs. The fire department had arrived. They were putting out the flames. The main staircase was destroyed. Part of the roof had collapsed. But the structure held. The house survived. And so did I. The fire marshal ruled it arson within 2 days. Accelerant used. Multiple points of origin. Definitely intentional. I told them about Marcus and Tony. What I'd seen. They were arrested a week later. Security footage from a gas station showed them buying gasoline that afternoon. Their phones pinged near the mansion at the time of the fire. They confessed, eventually. Said they figured if I was dead and the house was destroyed, the insurance money would go to the family. They'd get their cut. They were sentenced to 15 years each, arson and attempted murder. Sheila claimed she didn't know. Maybe she didn't. But she didn't get a penny either way. I rebuilt the mansion. Took a year, but we did it. Restored it to its original beauty. Kept all the hidden rooms. The secret passages, the basement refuge. And I reopened it. Not as my home. As what it was always meant to be. A safe house for women escaping violence. We're quiet about it. No signs, no advertisements. But women who need it, they find us. Through shelters, through whisper networks, through people who know people. We take them in, give them a room, safety, time to heal, time to figure out their next step. Just like my great-great-grandmother did. Just like my grandmother wanted. I live in a small cottage on the property, but the mansion belongs to the women who need it. And sometimes late at night, I see her. That woman in the old-fashioned dress, walking the halls, checking on the guests. I think it's Abigail, my great-great-grandmother, still protecting, still watching over us. I'm not scared of her. She saved my life. This house isn't haunted, baby. It's blessed. So let me tell you something, honey. Family isn't always the people you share blood with. Sometimes it's the people who share your purpose, your values, your fight. My cousins wanted to kill me for money, for a house they had no right to. But my real family, the women who came before me, they left me a legacy, a mission, a sacred trust, and I'll protect it until the day I die. Then I'll pass it on to the next woman who's worthy. Who shows up? Who cares? Who understands? This mansion isn't about money. Never was. It's about survival. About women helping women. About creating safety in a world that's often unsafe. That's worth more than $35 million. That's worth everything. And if you're out there and you need help and you need a place to go, know that places like this exist. Quiet places, safe places, where women protect women. You just gotta know where to look or who to ask. We're out here, baby. We've always been out here, and we always will be. Thank you for sitting with me today. I hope my story reminds you that you're never alone, that there are people fighting for you, protecting you, even when you don't know it. You are loved. You are safe. You are worthy of protection. God bless you, honey. This is Eve, and I'll see you next time.